Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tucson. And I have a big audience here. I have one student, Cecilia, that came, but that's okay because you get it up close and personal here, right? Get to see everything I'm doing today. Today's class, I've got two topics that I'm going to talk about. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off on one topic, go on to topic two, and then I'll continue back on topic one. We'll kind of do it that way. It's kind of fun. But I think to get things moving, I'm going to start off a little number for you. I decided to start off with a Latin style. This style, let's see if you can name the style. If for those of you who have a Grand Marquis and aria, it's just a fun little, just to see if you know what style it is, because I'm going to use intro 2 instead. But this is a song I normally don't play either. So here we go. All right. Wasn't that great? All right. Do you know what style that was? Do you? Huh? Nope. It wasn't a rumba. Although it feels like a rumba beat, but that was not the name.
Bossa Nova?
It was a bossa nova feeling. She's guessed. She's named off like 10 styles already. So far, you haven't gotten it yet. It is a Latin. Nope. Close. That was. Now, I'll play the intro. She's guessing over and over. No, you can't. No. Anybody? Anybody else? Okay. So I'm going to put the same rhythm on. For those of you who have the Marquis, Grand Marquis, or aria. Now, if you don't, rumba's a great style. Actually, cha-cha, when I learned that song, does anybody know the name of the song?
Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White.
Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White. I learned that song years ago. So when I got to that middle part, I was like, I almost forgot the chords of the notes. But when I learned it years ago, I learned it using a cha-cha style. So that's great. But the style that I actually used, I'll play the introduction one. So for those of you who have this model, see if it sounds familiar now. You ready? Sound familiar? Now, does anybody know what the name of that style is? It's at the tip of your tongue. I'll tell you so I can teach the class.
Bossa?
Nope. It is called swaying Latin. The swaying Latin style is the style that I use. But what I did is I used the intro 2 and I played an F chord. It was a major chord because that's the way I play Cherry Pink. And listen. Now I have a little confession. You didn't see my face, but when I did that, I've never played this style with Intro 2. So if you'd have saw my face, it would have been, oh, that's pretty cool. That's the first time I heard that introduction, so I didn't know what to expect. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the class. It was just kind of like a fun little thing. So today, folks, I'm going to talk about two things. And the first thing I'm going to talk about a little bit in the beginning, and I'll do a little bit in the ending, and in the middle I'm going to talk about something because if I don't, Craig Curtis, are you there?
I'm here.
See you. He'll probably shoot me. He's been asking this for months. I said someday. So I'm going to touch a little bit on the right panel. But what I really wanted to share with you today, and this will be posted. This may not be the full list. There might be some extra ones on there. So when I post this on Patreon, you're definitely going to want to download this sheet. I'll give you a quick snippet of my cheat sheet here. It's called Shortcuts. Okay? Now I'm going to encourage you to take notes. I'm going to take that off for now because I may not go over all of them. It might be a 2 or 3 hour class. In Shortcuts, the Lowrey organs have what's called shortcuts. And there's multiple ways of getting to things sometimes. For example, on the EX series, all of the models, you obviously have a choice of picking a rhythm style by pushing the buttons here. Some of the models have a button called favorites. That's another way of obtaining styles. You all have the way of finding a rhythm style by using the keypad and using the alphabet. If I want, for example, razzmatazz, I would type in R and hit the stylus. So there are multiple ways of accessing things on the instruments. Well, there are a lot of features that some people use, some people don't. Sometimes they don't because there's a few steps involved. So I'm going to share some shortcuts that you may hopefully you will hopefully at least use one of these that you can do. So for example, the first one is just a real basic one just to kind of get started. So we're over to the left here on this panel. Let me change my view so I can make it bigger so I can see this side right here. On the left side, you all have what's called a graphic mixer. And you'll notice there's a, lower, you have your rhythm style, your bass, and some volumes and so forth. Now you can do this, and you can adjust the volume however you want. Let me see, let me zoom in here. I'm going to make you a little dizzy here for a minute. Now I don't know if you could see it in that view there. Move my camera over just like that. What happens if I turn the lights down a little bit? Okay, so you can kind of see here, you see how the lights are all the way red right now? You can kind of see that, all right? Well, what a lot of people don't, I'm not going to mess with the master. What a lot of people don't realize is you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this case, and I think it's about the same on the other models as well, okay? What a lot of people don't realize is if you go up like this bass here, for example, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you have 12 steps to get to full volume, but that's not that's not volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4 up to 12. It's in increments of 10, 13, 22 percentages. Okay, most of us know we just work with it. But if you want to adjust that and you want a short way of doing that, if you look on the screen here, let's see if I could do this without my face getting in the picture here. If you press and hold the feature button, I'm crawling all over the floor here. All right. If you press and hold the feature button, let me move my camera, I'm sorry. The feature button is cut off. Okay. And I'll do it on the other organ here too. If you press and hold the feature button, okay, and then you hit one of these over here, what'll happen on this, let's say I'm going to touch bass. What happens is your keypad comes up automatically. Now, you can choose the keypad if you want. It's just another way of getting there. All right. Again, remember, there's multiple ways of accessing these. Now, this feature may be a big deal, may not, but we're just getting started on what the idea of the shortcuts is. It's by using the feature button. This is what I would write down, make a note, pressing the feature button, and then something else will get you to that feature very quickly, okay? So the first example is I did that, the keypad came up. Now let's say I want this bass, instead of at 100%, I want it at 50, okay? So all I do is I type in 50, and then when I reach over here, I press the bass, and you'll notice once I press the button, that light will go down to 50%. Are you ready? Now see if you can catch it. See it? Now maybe you saw it. All right. Now let's do the other camera view here. Let's see if I could do it on the other model. And boom. Okay. So I'm going to, let's see how good of a view you have there. So I'm going to press feature, and I'm going to hit the graphic mixer off to the side. The keypad comes up. Now let me swivel this over a little bit. Oh, those lights are visible on that view. Okay. Now watch this. On the screen, I'm going to type 80. Well, we'll put 90. Okay. And then I'm going to touch lower right here. Now watch what happens. Right now, it's right in that range. And when I touch it, oops, I touched the wrong one, but it went up to 90%. Let's do it again. Actually, let me put that back to 20%. 20. Ready? Boom. And you'll notice it went down to 20%. Now, again, you have the option of just activating your keypad or pushing feature in any one of those volumes, and then the keypad will come up automatically. And it's basically encouraging you to dial in a number. Okay? Now, there's another one here. And if you look at it up close, let's see if you could see it. This very carefully. I don't want to give anybody motion sickness. Okay, now you may not be able to see it on there. The camera, it's not the best. This particular camera is not the best, but right here, there's one called Reverb. Okay? Now, a lot of the times, that's preset for you. I'm trying to look at the TV and the camera at the same time, and I got to move my finger. Okay, here we go. All right, and what Reverb does, I'm not going to get into a whole class on Reverb, but in short, it creates what I like to call a Hall effect. So here's, for example, here's just a good classic straight organ sound, okay? Now I'm going to turn off the reverb altogether. Now, even in virtual land out there, you'll probably notice this. It'll be more apparent here with my student here. So if I just play a chord or sound, okay, and then I just very quickly let go. Okay, do you hear how suddenly that stopped? Show of hands, thumbs up, you nod your head. Okay, you notice how, and maybe on virtual land, it's even what we call a dry sound. Okay, now I'm going to put this up to 100%. The reverb. Okay. Now tell me, just show of hands, because I'm looking at the camera behind my back here. Now, show of hands, thumbs up. Do you hear the difference? Okay. Now, a lot of times that is preset for you. Okay. And all that means is what I did there is I gave the amount of reverb. What some people know or don't know is that there's actually different reverb settings. Okay? Not just how much reverb, but I'm just trying to get the camera just right here. Not just how much reverb, but the kind of reverb. So for example, I'm going to push the feature button, and while I'm holding the feature button, I'm going to press the reverb over there. Now let's see if I can back this camera up just a little bit without knocking over my cord. Okay. All right, there we go. So I have the feature button here, and then here's the reverb button right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the feature button, okay? And while I'm pressing and holding the feature button, I'm going to press the reverb. Now when I do that, watch what happens on the screen. Did you see something show up on the screen? Right?
Yes, sweet sound.
Yeah, so basically it's all of the settings are defaulted to what's called sweet sound. So when you turn on your instrument and you hear and you're playing, you get, now see how that sound kind of carries. It's not an echo, I call it like a hall effect, almost like if you're in a, I would say cathedral, but they actually have one called cathedral. All right, now you may not see it there, but it says auditorium, ballroom, stadium, studio, cathedral, church, cavern, room, club. So you could sound like this sweet sound, or you could sound like you're in a room or a club. Now you hear how it's slightly different. You can sound like you're in a stadium. You hear the difference. Now again, I have it at 100% now, purposely so you could really hear. You may like a setting and say that's a little bit too much of that, but I want to try it, and you can just lower the amount. Cathedral, it carries very slowly. Cavern, etc., etc. Now, the question I typically get at this point is, which setting is the best? What's the ideal setting for this song? And the answer is, you got to just pick it and try it and play with it. And if you don't like it, you can change it. But a lot of people don't know that. Now that's a feature. If you go to the feature button and you scroll up to reverb, you'll get that. The shortcut is press feature, press the reverb button, and it pops up automatically on the screen there. That's a shortcut. Or you can hit feature and scroll till you get to it. And okay? So that's another shortcut. Here's another shortcut. Now some of you already have this, so this may not come in handy, but it just depends. So you know these buttons down here, these custom buttons, there are also some favorite features that you could put in there. Same thing over there. If you start to change them, you may run out of custom buttons, but you know, number 4 is the most popular one. That's the one that brings up the preset information. But there's another way to do that. You ready? You press feature. Okay, actually, I'll zoom in on this. You can kind of see it there, right? When you press feature, while holding feature, you hit any preset button and look in the screen. It automatically brings up that preset information. It's just another way. Now, why would that be helpful if I have it here? Well, maybe you'll have other features you like and you want to use that number 4 for something else. So now it's just as simple. It's 2 buttons instead of 1, but you can very quickly just hit feature. If you hit A, B, C, D, or E, it pulls it up the same. Now let me zoom in just a little more so you could see that. Again, push feature, hit any preset or bank preset number, and boop. And if you want to make it fun, you make that sound effect. You go boop. All right.
Oops.
Oops. You ever push the wrong button? That was Joni. All right. So again, that's just another shortcut. Here's another one. Actually, I'll probably leave it right here for now. So a lot of you have this Upper Genius tab here. you know, you think I'd have all these camera angles that I would have to move it, but I like to go all over the place here. Oh wait, where am I? Which direction I'm going? There we go. Okay. A lot of you have this upper Genius upper sound button. It's just a fun little extra thing. If you touch feature and you touch it, what will happen is the edit sound box will come up. Now watch this. If I push one of the sounds over here, like let's say I want whatever's here, it'll give me the brass section, then I can very quickly edit it. If I push this sound button, it tells me the trumpet, then I can very quickly edit it. All I had to do is push feature and the upper Genius or upper sounds button. Just some really cool things you can get to right away. Okay? Now, I told you I was going to do something else today as well. And before I do that, does anybody have any questions about anything I've talked about so far? Whoops.
Robert, do you have to press and hold the feature button?
Yes, good question. I'm glad you asked that because someone would have went home, they would have pressed the feature button and then the other thing, and you have to press and hold the feature button. While holding the feature button, then you press whatever I've taught so far. One of the graphic mixer buttons, the reverb button. If you press and hold a preset button, that'll pull that up. Or if you press and hold that Genius tab, it'll pull it up. All of these work when you're pressing, holding the feature, and while you're holding it, you press the other thing. So if I wanted the preset information as example, I'm pressing and holding it. While I'm holding it, I press the other one, and then it'll automatically activate. Now, you don't have to keep holding it after that. Now, obviously, I'm doing it from this angle. You're going to be sitting here where it's not like you're playing Twister. These are just some cool ways to get to some of the features that you normally wouldn't use that are right here built in the instrument. Sometimes these features, like the reverb one, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a student and all they do is they never even mess with the reverb. And they don't realize not only that they can control how much reverb they get, but you can change what kind of reverb you get. Okay? Now, I'm going to take a detour, and then we'll come back with a couple other shortcuts for you. I'm going to take, yes.
I do have one question. When you're pressing and holding the feature button and you press in the orchestral, or is it always in that particular column where the sound is?
Over here?
Yeah, and you don't do it to the far right, right? You only
No,
do it to the
there's
left.
a button here called Upper Sounds,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
or on some of the models, it's called Upper Genius.
Right. Right.
Okay? So if yours says Sounds, what you would do is you press and hold the feature,
Mm-hmm.
and you press the Upper Sounds tabs while you're holding it. And the minute you do that, it'll activate this. And now any sound that you put on, or Genius sound for the A series, okay, any sound that you pull up, it'll give you this option where you can go in, you can change the octaves, you can change sustain, you can do all these fun little things that we say we do from time to time, but people don't know how to get there sometimes. Now, again, there's another way or two to get to that. This is just a shortcut way, okay? All right.
Question, how would you do that on the organ to your left?
Same way. Let me pull up the camera there. It's exactly the same way. So if you hear me use the word Genius, it's an A series model, okay? A series model, and I put it in the email. The my computer thinks I'm saying "Hey Siri," so let me deactivate it. The letter A series. I put a list of the list of models. You know what that is. So very quick, I'll ramble it off. Okay, SU series and the A's. Okay, SU is Rhapsody, Royale, Stardust, Grand Royale, Sensation, Performer, Palladium. I might have missed one, but I'm doing this off the top of my head. A series is Legend touchscreen models. Legend, Prestige, Imperial, Sterling, Patriot, Symphony, Liberty. I think I got them all in there. Floridian, Legend, okay. All right, so on this here, let's see what kind of screenshot you have. It's the exact same thing. Okay, so don't get dizzy. I'm going to go real slow. Same thing. I'm going to push feature. And then right here, there's an upper genius button. When I press it, you see the screen pop up? Same thing.
Mhm.
All right. Everything I've shared with you so far is applicable on all the touchscreen models that I've posted in the email today and then I just said. The EY series, by the way, the touchscreen models, that's Inspire, Rialto, Marquis, Grand Marquis, Aria. They're not going to say genius. They're going to use the word sound. So this will say genius. The other one will say sound. Okay? Now I'm going to leave it right there for now because I'm going to talk about the right side here for a little bit. And actually, I'll stay here and then I'll hop over to the other organ. So, all right. So the infamous right panel. And I'm going to explain it as easily as I can, but I'm going to encourage you. This is one of those things that if for some reason it does not hit home right away, this is something you want to call one of the personal assistants and set up a time to discuss it individually. Okay, but this is being recorded, so you can always go back and watch it and listen to it. And then if you have a question, you can, because this sometimes can be a little confusing for people. But this panel here for many years. Now, if you have an Inspire, Rialto, Marquis, Grand Marquis, and Aria. Did I miss one? I'm going to set them both up here so you can, because I'm going to try to go back and forth. Okay? The process is very similar. Wait, where's my camera? Let me go over to, okay, here we go. All right. Just checking my camera view out. I'm going to go back and forth from time to time. So I'm going to echo what I just said. So pay very close attention to when I mention the models, okay? So that way there's no confusion. The A series models and the SU series models works the same here. The EY touchscreen models and the EX works the same on the other model. I'm going to go back and forth so you could hear this, okay? We have thousands of presets in these organs. We have thousands of presets in these models. And we always encourage, use the presets because they're already there for you. You know, this one here has normal rhythm preset times 11, and there's 300 something rhythms. That's over 3,000, and then you do it again, another, you know, that's thousands and thousands. On the A series, you have 22 setups for every rhythm. If you have 300 rhythms, that's thousands of presets. You got a lot there. But have you ever felt like, you know what, I want to create my own sounds? It's good to experiment from time to time. The right hand is where we experiment with the most. All right? So, with that said, I'm going to teach this to you from the power up setting. This is the best way for starters. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reset the organ and pull it up from power up. All right. And let me pull this camera back just a little bit more. See if I can get a little wider angle here. Okay. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. All right, so if you first turn on the organ, all right, when you first turn on the organ, the first sound that comes on most of the models, you know, is an organ sound. So to experiment with this and to get comfortable using this, what I'm going to encourage you to do is turn on the organ from power up. Don't put on a rhythm and do all this other stuff because there's different settings happening that won't give you what you expect when you press it. You want to get comfortable with this. So you turn it on. I got an organ sound here. There's a left hand here. And there's sometimes something there. No, that's just organ. And what I'm going to do is turn off my organ sounds here. These two tabs here. The Inspire, the Rialto, it comes up with a different sound. You want to make sure that you turn it off, and then when you do this, nothing is on. Okay? Now down here, there's a sound because it's really the left hand sound, but we're going to talk about that. So over here on the panel, some of you have the sounds that are already labeled. You have piano, you have guitar, you have, you know, all of the common instruments. On some of the Liberty, Sterling, Patriot, those models, you have just the 2 buttons. Same concept, they're just less buttons, all right? Now, I'm looking at my screen, and right now it says that the Orchestral Genius 1 has a piano sound in it, okay? It says Orchestral Genius 2 has bells. This is the power up. Now, how this sounds is not as important as how it works, okay? And then on Solo Genius 1, it says French horn. And then it says on Solo Genius 2, it says whistle, okay? So that's what's there right now. Now, if I turn, make sure nothing else is on, and I push Orchestral Genius 1, that sound will go on the top right, top keyboard, sorry, or lower right, depending on what I tell it to do. Now, this is the easy part. If I push this button that says Upper Genius, and that's the only button that's on, all that means is that piano that I have selected is going to go in the upper. Okay? So far, so good? That's pretty simple. All right. So if you have a sound on here, it doesn't matter what it is. In this case, it's piano. And I have upper on. And then I play, it's going to be on the upper. All right. Let's do the next easy thing. Now, if I turn that off and I put lower right, where is that sound going to go? It's not a trick question. If I push lower right, you're all saying the answer, but you're muted. But reading your lips, it sounds like you're saying lower right. Okay, here we go. And you're correct. Okay, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, here's the next easy part. If I push upper and lower right, where's that piano on? I've read your lips. It said both, and she said both here too. And I know you didn't cheat and hear her because you can't hear her through my microphone. But yes, you are correct. Okay, so that part's pretty simple. Now, there's one here called bells. All right, so the bells. If I push the bells and I do exactly what I just said, everything applies the same. But this is where some students kind of get stumped. Now, if I push them both together, now I'm going to push 1 first and then 2. It doesn't matter which one it doesn't matter which order you put it in. One will be blinking, one will be solid, okay? But you'll have to know what the difference is. So in this case, the solid one is the piano, and the one that's blinking is bells, okay? Now, this is the easy part. If I push upper and nothing else, the sound that's going to be on the top keyboard is piano and the bells. You can kind of hear the piano, the bells there. Now, I'm going to turn that off and do lower right. Okay? Now, again, on the lower right, there should be piano and bells. That's okay. This is where some people get stumped for some reason. Now, if I push upper on and lower right, which sound is on the top and which sounds are on the bottom? Any guesses? What did you say, Cecilia? Okay, now Cecilia's guessing that the piano and the bells will be on the top and the piano bells will be on the bottom. Okay, that's what she's guessing. Any other guesses? That's what most people would think, but that's not the case. No. Here's the answer. Well, here's the actual answer, which she said the piano will be on the upper and the bells will be on the bottom. Well, that's correct, but let me give you the actual answer so you'll know this for everything. If I have two buttons pressed and the upper and the lower right is on together, the one that's solid is on the top, the one that's blinking is on the bottom. So in this case, what you said was correct. If I reversed it, the solid one is on the top, and the blinking wasn't on the bottom. In this case, the blinking one is the piano, the solid one is bell. So, okay. Now, right. Yeah, so if you only have upper, if you have upper on only and they're both pressed, they're both on the top. If you have lower right only, they're both on the bottom. And if you push upper and lower, the solid is on top, the blinking is on the bottom. And it applies for the solo section as well. The answer is this, the instruction is the same. Okay? So if I do this and I do this, this is where people go, well, there's all of them are on. Well, the solid one in this solo is on the top, and the blinking was on the bottom because I have them both on. And I would just have to look to see what's assigned there. Okay? All right. Now, I know that somebody out there has a question, but I'm going to encourage you to write that question down and get with your PA. Oh, whoops. I don't mean to turn my camera off. Let's go here. Now, it's similar for you, let me try to think real quickly. Okay, Inspire, Rialto, Marquis, Grand Marquis, Aria, okay? It's similar. I'm just moving the camera over so you could see my beautiful face. Okay. Now it's similar, and then I'll zoom in. Okay, so here, because the panel is different, and the colors are different. It's ultimately the same concept. So you have orchestra 1 and 2, which would be equivalent to the reds, and then you have solo 1 and 2, which coincidentally also happen to be blue. Okay. Now, I'm going to zoom in so you could see this. And let's see if I could do this without creating motion sickness here. And I'll get as close as I can so you could see. I don't know, can you see the letters on there? Kinda? Sorta? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off in the home position. Same thing. I'm going to turn off the organ, turn it on, and just have it come up from scratch just so you can kind of see me go through this. I'm going to use the exact same examples. It turns on with the organ sound. Okay, let's turn that off so there's nothing on here, okay? I just turned off these two tabs right here, okay? So there's nothing on. Yeah. There's nothing there. All right, there's probably an organ sound down here. Okay? All right, so here, let's look at the sounds that's in here. So let's see. I push that, and it says piano, bells. In this case, it has a clarinet and a whistle, okay? Just similar to that over there, only they have a clarinet. Doesn't matter what the sounds are, it's the process, all right? So let's start with the first one. Orchestral 1, are you ready? So this sound here is the piano. So if I push the upper button, okay, let's see if I can trick you on this one. I have a piano here. If I push the upper, where is that piano at?
On the top.
Good answer, whoever said that. Okay, I kind of made that easy. All right, now let me turn that off. Lower right, where's that piano?
Lower.
Exactly. Pretty cut and dry, right? Okay. Now, you EX people, you might like this. You may already know this, but you know, you'd be surprised. Some people don't. They look at the panel, and you see a lot of buttons, and my reactions, ah! Okay, now if I push upper and lower, the piano is exactly what it says, right? Okay, so now that's not much different than what I explained. So that part is pretty universal. But here's the part where, in the orchestral 2, for example, it also has the bells, all right? But on this panel here for you Rialto, Inspire, Marquis, Grand Marquis, Aria, I'll just say EYEX touchscreen people, okay? You don't press 2 at the same time to get it and one's blinking. So here's the question I want to ask you. If I want a piano here and a bells here, here's how I would do it. This is the piano and this is the bells. So if I want the piano sound on the top, I'm going to simply push the upper button. If I want the bells on the bottom right, I'm going to go to the orchestral where this bell sound is. You don't even have to push the sound button. You just push lower right. Okay? Now, if I want, check this out. This is something that we can do too. Let's say I want piano and bells up here. Okay, upper and upper. But what I can also do is I can still put the bells down here by itself. So in simple terms, this sound here, upper, is on the upper. This sound here is on the upper. Piano and bells. And then on the lower right, I also have the bells. In other words, what you see is what you get. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay. So she asked me what do I get. Well, I didn't want it there. It says lower right or lower left. So if I push one of those, whatever sound is there is going to go where it says it goes. So if I push the lower left, that piano is now on the lower left. To the left hand. Now let me tell everyone this. Everyone has an option for lower left. Unless you're a full chord player and you play a lot of manual left hand and you're skilled, it's a very slim chance that you'll put any sound on the left hand.
Yep.
From this panel, okay? Because it doesn't do one finger chording. The easy play doesn't apply. All right? Now, again, she was asking me here, just so you know, what happens if I push one of these? Well, it'll go where it says. Now watch this. If I got upper and lower, upper and lower right, the piano's on the upper and lower right. If I have this upper and lower right, so that means I have a piano bells here and I have a piano bells here. The thing is that sometimes people think it's not, there must be a trick here. It's telling you exactly where that sound is going to go. So if I turn this off and I turn this off and that off, the only thing that I have in the upper is whatever sound is in here. And if I want to know, I just press it and look in the screen and it says piano. Over here, same thing. If I push, let's see, clarinet mellow, lower right, upper, what a sound is over here. Whistle, okay? I'll turn these. So these are off now, lower right and upper. So the lower right sound, this one is down here. Whistle. Why is it in the upper? Because it says upper. Maybe I want, I don't want that whistle on at all, so I just have them both off. But I want the clarinet, and maybe I want a piano up here. Well, upper. In other words, it goes where it says it goes. I can't, if I keep repeating myself, you think I'm sounding like a broken record. Okay? Now, if you're still thinking, well, what if write that down, get in touch with the PA, and then have them personalize it to your question, okay? So, I can now officially say I have covered the right-hand panel on Zoom and recorded it. And now I can finally lift that weight off my shoulders, Mr. Craig.
Thank you.
I've actually been wanting to do that for a while. And every time I had it in the schedule, something like, well, maybe, and it finally gave me an opportunity. I said, you know what? I can do it in one class on multiple series all at once. So, all right, a couple more shortcuts and I'll close with a number for you. I may not show them all to you, or I may say them. Write these down, okay? But I'm just going to very quickly explain it. And if you go on Patreon and get the handout, it's pretty cool. It's just real simple. Tells you press feature button, plus this, press feature button, press that. And I'll give you a little snapshot of some of the others that I'm going to do here. All right. I covered the first 4 on here. The last 4 I'll very quickly mention. I may not go in this order. Feature plus flute tab. Feature plus slide or portamento. Feature plus play/pause. Feature plus accompaniment / registration button. Okay. Now I'm leaving this up in the screen momentarily because if you go back and you watch this recording, remember when you're watching the recording, you can always press pause or you can download the handout. All right. Now, let me cover the feature plus flute tab. This is a feature you'll use only if you want to experiment with these flute tabs here, the organ sounds. Okay, so you have. Oh, let me turn off the piano. Okay, you got an organ sound here, and you can adjust your own organ tabs here. And my little trick to the organ tabs is this: if you want simple organ sounds you want to create, you never go wrong if you leave the 16 on, and then followed by any other combination. Okay, this is what I call the basic way. All right. So right now the 16-foot organs tab is on, and you get this sound. It's kind of mellow by itself, right? Now I'm going to play chords and. You know. Okay. Now watch this. I'm going to randomly hit any of these tabs except for the 16. I'm going to leave the 16 on all the time. Okay? Now watch this. You ready? Random. And then someone yells stop. Someone yells stop.
Stop.
Okay. And whoever just stopped me, I hope this organ sound's going to be good because you told me to stop. Let's see. That's a good organ sound. Okay, again, ready? Here we go. Okay, she just yelled stop. This better be good, Cecilia. Ooh, I like that one. Okay, that's just a little trick for you. So if you ever want to experiment with organ sounds, turn it up, power up setting, keep the 16 on, and just kind of poke any others. The 16 is kind of important because that gives you that low tone. If you don't, you may get an okay sound, but it'll be kind of thin. It loses its low end tone. So always leave the 16 on for a quick basic. Okay, now, you advanced organ players. Now, there's some organ players out there. Remember the Hammond organ. Now, the Hammond organ, what made the Hammond organ unique was they were known for their drawbars. And here's all that meant, is that every one of these tabs that you see, they were on a slider. So you can actually control each of the individual volumes of all of these. Well, guess what? On the Lowrey, it can be done too. This is the basic way. And for those who really want to get in the organ sound, there's a feature called the drawbars. I think it's on a custom button, but here's the shortcut. You ready? Push feature, hit any drawbar or tab, and what happens is on the screen, it'll automatically show up. Let me get a little closer here. Actually, let me switch to this screen over here. All right, watch. Feature, hit any tab, and you'll see that the tabs come up. And as you turn them on, you'll see that the drawbars come on. And then you can actually adjust the volume of every tab you want. You can run your finger across, and you can try all sorts of, not only combinations with this, but you can try them however you want. Thousands of combinations, so don't ask what's a good combination. You'll know. Okay? All right, that's another shortcut. Here's another shortcut for you, a few more for you. And some of you use the whistle sound. And actually, I think the whistle came on automatically. Now, you hear that little slide? Okay, so there's a feature called slide or portamento on the A series models in the SU. You hear that whistle? But there's a way to adjust how fast or slow you want that whistle to go, the slide or the portamento. The shortcut, here it is. Press feature, and on the E and E series, you touch the slide button. On the A and SU series, you press feature and you touch portamento. Okay? I'm going to press feature and slide, and what will come up, it says solo 1, solo 2. Now right now I'm on solo 2, and it says 25. So when I do the sound, that's the speed. Now if you put that number up to 50, that might be a little too high. Watch what happens. If you go up higher, ready? So now there's a way to get into it in the screen with a feature and scroll through it, but the shortcut is just press feature, press the slide, or feature portamento, depending on which one you have, and it'll automatically pull that up, and then you can kind of have some fun with it. And there's a speed for the solo 2 and the speed for the solo 1. Okay? Have some fun with that. Another feature. This is just a simple little one here. Okay, so a lot of you use, a lot of you might play songs with your USB. Okay, so there's a cool feature in here. Now there's a couple things that you do on this series. And pay very close attention. On this series, the music recorder section. In other words, a section that plays your USBs. On the A and the SU series, it's on this. Let me put the panel over here. Okay, let me come over here. Okay, let me get a little closer. Okay, that section right here. Okay? So if you press and you hold Let me come back to me here. The feature button. This one you may not use a lot, but it's there. If you press and hold the feature button and you press either the accompaniment or it's called registration on here. Okay? What'll come up is the metronome. Some people, and the metronome is, this metronome is when you're recording. Now some of you, if you record yourself, if you ever record yourself on the organ, you ever notice in the beginning the metronome comes on? It does. If you're recording onto a USB, it'll come on automatically. It'll come on automatically. You can shut that off. Simple feature, you might not use it, but this one you might use. Are you ready? I'm going to push feature and the play pause button. All right? Now get a load of this. Let me put the camera over here. I think it does it on this one too. It better. I don't want to be a liar on the screen. Let's see here. All right, here we go. I'm going to push feature and then the play pause button. Yeah. Oops. I went a step further. And what happened was, it should stay. Oh, I think I have it on another setting. But what'll happen is, because I don't have the stick in, your change songs features option shows up. Let me get it on this one here so you can see a little better here. Here we go. Let me zoom in. Okay, you ready? I'm going to try to get the camera on both. All right. So what I just did there, feature, play, pause, and what happens is your change songs options comes up where you can repeat, chain loop, random loop, etc. Most people go feature and they scroll up to change songs and then they touch it and then they do what they need to do. Well, the shortcut is just press feature, play, pause, and boom, it's there.
Robert, will
Yes.
the drawbar changes save on a stick?
Yes. It will save on a stick as long as you save it on a preset. But yes, because when you are doing drawbar, when you're making changes on the drawbars, it's no different than you making changes with these. You're changing the sound. Now, if you press memorize and save it on a preset, it'll be saved on that preset. So if you make 20 different presets with all these different drawbar, each one of those are going to be saved that way.
So if you save preset 1, and then you go to the next sound,
Yes.
does the drawbar go back to factory?
It depends. If you save, let's say you did the changes on a drawbar and you saved it on A1, all right, and you leave it there. Now you're playing along and then you're on A1 and now you press A2. Well, 2 is going to come up with a different setting because that 2 is saved a certain way. So if you want more than one change, then you would probably save them on a preset. It's no different than you saving A1, putting a piano sound on there. What happens when you press number 2? What happens to the piano?
Well,
Changes.
It changes because the other preset you press has something else there.
right.
Yes.
Think of a drawbar change or an organ sound change. Like think of it like just a separate sound altogether. That if you made your own adjustment, it's being saved separately.
Well, I have Dennis's book of drawbar settings for some of the old songs that he
Yeah,
did.
he was the king of that.
Right. So,
That was his style, the organ. So if you have like several different, you want to save each one of them on there. You can save 10, you can save 20, you can save as many as you like. Okay? Well, I'm going to play final number. Before I do, Did you learn at least one thing today? Oh my gosh, I taught 8 things. I taught 8 shortcuts today. Plus, I went over the right panel on both models. I'm giving myself a pat on the back. You know why? I did it because I actually started about almost exactly an hour ago. I did all of that in an hour. Wow. I'm good.
That'll be
Yeah, you're excellent.
Now, when all is said and done, in a few days, several days, whatever it takes, it will be available on a Patreon. If you're not a Patreon member, this class is worth paying a few bucks a month. Plus, I'll have the handout on there as well. And you can always, again, what's cool about this is when you're rewatching videos, you can always pause it and go back, and you can pause and listen to. And then, of course, you always have your personal assistants for a little more personalized experience. Because sometimes, as simple as basic as it was, there's going to be a question you're going to have that it's not going to be 100% applicable because it might be something you're looking for. You may say, well, I want this sound here and this here, and then I want this organ sound to go here. And what do I do? Well, now that the PA is going to be, it's going to personalize it to you. Okay? In a class like this, it's hard to personalize it 45 different ways. It looks like, but you got the general idea. And hopefully that encourages you to experiment more often, because some people are afraid of doing that. Because I'm going to echo what I said earlier. To start off using the right panel, just to kind of get comfortable using it, start from power up, because there's no other settings on. Make sure you turn off your upper keyboard sound so there's no sound on in the upper, and then go in and have some fun with it. And if you get a little bit like, oh, something is not right, then stop and then just pick a rhythm and just start playing your songs and go have some fun. All right. I'm going to close off. I'll pick another style now, a style that most people would recognize if you have the intro, and I'll play a different introduction. Let's see if you can name it. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to find it here in just a second. Let's see. What happens if I put, let's see, that sound is okay. It's fine. I played that one too much. Okay, I might do this one. No, let's see, that one, or, okay, I think I'm just going to do it. Here we go. Where'd it go? Here we go. All right. I actually don't know the song that this is designed for, so maybe intro 2 will inspire me to play something a little bit different. Here we go. Now, just for kicks, first of all, I used the shortcut slide. Did you notice that? And then what I did is I went to it and I changed it from 25 to 60 to get
Oh
the
my
whistle to go, woo! The
Oh,
rhythm style I used was actually a style that most people would use for the song Southern
Country.
Notes. But what I did is I played the intro too, and I got. So here's just another. Try those rhythm styles you used to love, with the intro twos again. All right. Well, with that said, did you enjoy the class today?
yeah.
Stop it. Oh, she's clapping. She sounded like she's clapping like 100 people there. We hope you enjoyed this wonderful special edition class. As always, stay safe. Keep playing music, and mwah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Play an organ, by the way. Throw that in there.
Oh, thank you. Oh my